Canadians are feeling the pinch at the pump as the conflict in the Middle East continues to drive up gas prices across the country. In some parts, prices rising nearly 20 cents compared to last week. Joining me now is Richard Masson, former CEO of Alberta Petroleum Marketing Commission. Richard, thanks very much for joining us.
Good to be here, Roger.
With this jump in gas, what's driving that? I mean, it should take a while for any rising gas price, any rising oil prices to hit the pump, should it not?
Yes, except this is a relatively exceptional situation where 15 to 20% of global total oil supply is cut off. And although the inventories in the tanks at the service stations, were bought at lower prices, replacing them is going to be expensive. And everybody who has been paying attention is kind of going and saying, well, maybe I'll fill up right now. So there's solid demand, and refiners and service stations all know they're going to have to pay higher prices, and so they're passing those prices through to consumers right off the top.
Right off the top. And how long does it take for gas to circulate through the system, like from when it arrives in Canada till when it gets into your pump, into your car?
Yeah, it all depends on the situation. So for Western Canada, we produce all the oil that we need. We ship it through the Enbridge system all the way to 4 refineries in Sarnia. All that takes a couple months plus some refining time. The eastern refineries, like the one in New Brunswick, buys oil. Most of it comes from the U.S. Gulf Coast, some from Nigeria. It comes on tankers. It'll sit in inventory. So all of that does take weeks. It's just the challenge of right now, the world is so unsettled that refining margins, in fact, for diesel have doubled because there's not enough diesel refining capacity given the refineries that have been hit in the Gulf by Iran to kind of keep up with demand. So price is the way we ration things when there are shortages, and higher prices mean you're going to drive less, only necessary things will happen. And so that's what happens in our system when there's a shortage. And right now, this is the biggest shortage we've ever faced.
And I mean, obviously the prices are going to rise. Do we even have an idea how much more they could go over the next few weeks?
I have seen, $100 coming soon, 120. I've seen people saying 200 coming. It depends how long it's going to take to see some semblance of a return to normal. And right now, there's no idea how that's going to happen. So the strait is very narrow. Iran has these Shahad drones that can attack ships, and no ships are willing to go through there. Tankers, of course, are huge, right? They're 200 to 300 meters long, and they're big targets. So that it's very difficult to protect them. And when you blow them up, it's a bad thing. And if you shut down that strait because tankers have sunk in the strait, that would be even worse. So because there are no tankers moving, then production in the fields around the Persian Gulf has to shut down because there's no place to put the oil. And so this is all compounding day after day. We saw prices go up $24 last week. About $20 of that was on Thursday and Friday, $10 each day. Mm-hmm. And so it could get worse. It could get worse even quicker over the coming days because people at the beginning of this war thought, well, maybe it will be resolved right away. There's no prospect of that at this moment, and it's getting worse.
And so you're 200. Have we ever seen 200 a barrel, or even?
I've never seen 200 a barrel, no. But I've seen a number of analysts talking about that as a possibility. When we have a 1 or 2 million barrel a day issue in the oil market, given our 103 million barrel a day consumption, that can drive prices a few dollars. When we have a 15 million barrel a day continued issue, and the prospect that afterwards it's going to take a long time to get anywhere back to normal, of course, we now see that Iran can shut this strait down, and it means that there's going to be less countries who want to rely on Middle East oil. So where are they going to get it? And the natural gas market's even worse. So this has changed our whole view of risk and where oil comes from, where natural gas comes from, and there are very few good options left. So yes, it's a difficult time that people are really only just understanding.
And if and when this ends, just one more question before we go, how fast will it take for them to return to more normal prices?
It'll take a while because inventories are getting drawn down. We had some decent inventories in the world before this happened, but what we're recognizing now is the return to normal production is going to take a long time, even if this resolves in a couple of weeks, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So I would say we have to worry about this. People need to start making plans based on the fact that this crisis is going to drive up energy costs for coming months.
Okay, we have to leave it there, but Richard, thank you very much for joining us.
Anytime.